Today I want to spend a few minutes talking about the pinnacle of motorcycle customization. I'm referring of course to setting up your bike specifically for you, your comfort, and your dimensions and weight. Let's face it, no one came out of a mold, and what works for one rider probably won't work best for you. As a motorcycle dealer, I spent years adapting to bikes, whichever demo bike I wanted to ride, whichever used bike we took on trade. Other than adjusting the mirrors and seat height, I just rode it. With my own bikes, I can take 5 minutes to properly set up and adjust the bike to my needs, and I encourage you to stop compensating for your own bike and set it up properly. Your ride and your riding will significantly improve, plus it'll pay you back in both comfort and safety. All the tools you need to do this customization are in your bike's toolkit. But if you don't want to go there or don't have your toolkit anymore, then typically you need an 8mm wrench, and if you don't have an 8mm, then check for a 5/16 wrench because they're the same size. A 10mm wrench, and sometimes a 12mm if your bike uses those for locking nuts or on the forks. And if your bike uses Allen head fasteners for the controls, of course you'll need your Allen wrenches. First, we're going to tackle the controls, and to start with, the handlebar levers. This VFR 1200F that you've seen in a few of my videos already is equipped with a custom set of short levers. We'll start on the brake lever. This is fundamentally one of the most important adjustments you can make to customize your bike for safety and comfort. Here I'm riding down the neighborhood street, and did you see that? To reach the front brake lever, I have to roll my wrist back. Essentially, I have to open the throttle to reach for the brake. This is a clear indication that the brake lever is set too high. Another common adjustment required is how far back or forward should the lever be in relation to the grip. The fitment rule here is that with the throttle closed, the lever should just pass the first knuckle from the end of your index finger. This way your middle and index finger will have full control over the brake. The other common mistake is having the lever back too far, so that when you go to your brakes, you squish the remaining fingers on the handlebar to apply the required brake pressure. This is all a balancing act, and you need to figure out a setting that gets you to the brakes without compromising your grip on the bar. Some of you have asked me about covering the brakes and how do I comfortably cover the brakes. In street riding, covering the brake simply means that your index and middle finger can easily rest on the brake lever. Now this is not the same as the aforementioned knuckle placement with the throttle closed. What I mean is that it's impossible unless you're Stretch Armstrong or Elastigirl to get those knuckles over the brake lever if your throttle is not completely closed. So don't sweat having to have your fingers out there on the brake when the throttle is opened. Instead, you should be able to easily rest your fingers on the top of the lever while at a quarter to a third throttle, so that your fingers slide forward to grip the lever when that throttle closes. By being able to move smoothly and not reposition your wrist when going from an open throttle to a closed with your fingers on the lever. This saves a few tenths of a second when braking, and depending on how fast you're going, this translates into feet and meters of closing distance in an emergency stop. What you don't want is strain pulling on the tendons and muscles in your hand to leave that index and middle finger in the position. You should be comfortable. If not, your lever is set too high. If it's too low, then you're reaching downward and having to adjust your wrist forward. Finally, there is the adjustment left to right. The clutch and brake lever have a curved section where it's closest to the handlebar. This is the area where your index finger needs to be to maximize lever travel. So when adjusting the height of your lever, you should also have a look at adjusting both inward to the center of the bike and outward to the end of the grip to get this placement correct. So in addition to angling the lever down, we moved the lever inward about a centimeter. So with that, I can go from being throttle on to brake without having to reach for it. And now because the curve is further in, the lever is further back here, I can get my 2 fingers over it. On the clutch side, again, you want to be able to comfortably go to the lever without rolling your wrist backwards. But at the same time, you don't want to be reaching down for it, rolling your wrist forward. Striking a happy medium where you can instinctively find the lever when negotiating traffic or in some twisties is the goal. It may take a couple of adjustments, so you can carry around an 8mm or 5/16 wrench to do some fine tuning when you stop for a fuel break. Now, here's a Mythbuster moment. Your brake and clutch lever do not have to be symmetrical. You can have them at different heights and positions to fit and work what is best for you. Your dominant hand is typically larger than the others, so don't expect your levers to adjust to the same position for both hands. Remember, this is about customizing your bike for what works best for you. Next up is the foot or rear brake. Now, I want to be able to safely cover this brake with my boot, 1, without having to lift my foot from the peg, and 2, without turning on my brake light prematurely. The pedal needs to be high enough to easily apply brake pressure, but low enough to place my boot over it without activating it. This adjustment on almost every bike is handled with a 10mm wrench. You'll notice that in all of the adjustment fittings, I'm wearing my riding boots. When adjusting the levers, I was wearing my bulkiest gloves. Bare hands and runners won't give you the same fitment, unless that's how you actually ride, but that's a completely different topic. Once the rear brake lever is at height, I need to go back and adjust the rear brake light switch. Again, my goal here is to cover the brake and not have the light come on until I actually push down with my foot. The final lever adjustment we're going to do is the shift lever. Like the brake, I want to be able to cover the lever without shifting the gear and have the upshift tight to my riding boot without having to contort my foot to get it under it. A tight shift lever to your boot will make upshifts crisp, and you will avoid missed shifts with little effort. I should now be happy with all the controls, right? Well, not quite. The aftermarket short clutch and brake levers were more comfortable after adjustment was done, but I still didn't like the placement. I opted to replace them with some folding levers with a more normal length. With the new levers, I had to go back and redo all these adjustments. Investing in more than one set of levers is not a bad option to get the fitment that you need. In my case, the new levers had cams, and that's the part that goes into the controls, that were a different shape than the old ones. I wound up removing and installing the old cams onto the new levers to reach the position and fitment I wanted. Now, you may find buying aftermarket levers a bit of a hit and miss, but they're not very expensive and offer a noticeable and immediate improvement. Changing the levers on my Triumph Sprint GT absolutely changed my opinion of the stock Triumph brake calipers, and I felt more comfortable using the brakes after installing them. Get out there and start customizing your bike to your needs and configuration, and stop compensating. Next week, we're going to tackle setting the suspension up. For this, you'll need some math, so if that's an issue, be sure to bring a calculator, a metric tape measure, and one day Americans will convert to the metric system, I believe, and a friend for at least part of the adjustment. And until next time, be sure to ride safe.
The metric system was developed in France and refined in France throughout the 1700s. Now think about that, why that's important to United States not adopting it. 10 seconds or so, right here. Just think about it.